Hello, my lovelies. We are going to read Leo the Lop today. It's a book written by Stephen Cosgrove and illustrated by Robin James. Beyond the horizon in the middle of the crystal sea was a beautiful island called Serendipity. On this magical island in the middle of the forest of dreams, protected by a wall of flowers and ferns, was a glen called the Thicket. It was in the thicket that the Serendipity bunnies lived. Here bunnies of every color of fur lived and played their lives away. There were white ones, brown ones, some with spots, and some even dappled in dots. As much as they seemed different, the bunnies were all the same. Each had a cute little nose, a fluffy puff of a tail, and two perky ears that stood straight up in the air. All of them, that is, save for Leo the Lop. Now, it wasn't that Leo didn't have a cute little nose or a puffy fluff of a tail, for he did. What he didn't have, what made him so different, was that he didn't have ears that stood straight up. Instead, his ears hung straight down. Ears were of little importance to Leo because he thought himself just as normal as could be. Day by day, as the little bunnies grew older, they began to notice that Leo was a little different. The more they looked at him, the more the difference seemed to get bigger and bigger. Somehow the difference seemed very funny indeed. Whenever Leo hopped by the other bunnies on the twisty trail that spiraled through the forest of dreams, they would grab their sides and giggle and laugh. The other bunnies really didn't want to hurt Leo's feelings, but they just couldn't stop themselves from laughing. You've got to admit that a bunny hopping about with his ears dragging behind was a pretty funny sight indeed. "It's your ears," giggled Buttermilk. "They go down, not up. You aren't normal." With that, she and the others hopped into the forest, their laughter echoing after. Leo felt kind of bad. He didn't think any different than the other rabbits, but it seemed because he looked different, he was different. Therefore, he just wasn't normal. "This can't be a forever thing," muttered Leo. "All I need to do is to exercise a bit, and my ears will stand up straight, just like the normal bunny's ears. Then they won't have anything to laugh about." He scrunched his eyes really tight and grunted and groaned with all of his might, trying to get his ears to stand up. Unfortunately, the best he could do was to get them to stick straight out. Hardly a normal rabbit kind of thing. But Leo the Lop was not one to give up easily. Surely there were other ways to make his ears normal. Maybe I just need to show my ears the way to go, and they will know what to do. Very carefully, he climbed up into the old twisted possum tree that stood near the middle of the thicket, hooked his hind legs over the branch, and then dangled over, hanging upside down. Sure enough, his ears hung straight up, or rather straight down from his head. Leo the Lop looked just as normal could be. Or did he? As the story goes, Leo hung there for an hour or more, swinging gently in the breeze as his ears learned to hang up instead of down. He would have hung there even longer, but he was startled nearly out of his wits as someone called out in a long, slow drawl, "What ya doin'?" Leo spun around on the branch, and there, hanging right beside him, was the possum who lived in the old possum tree. "Oh, well," said Leo as he gathered his composure, "I'm hanging upside down so my ears will learn to hang straight up. When my ears stand up, I can be a normal rabbit." Slowly wondered the possum. "What's normal? When I saw you on the ground, your ears looked normal to me. Now they look upside down." Leo thought, and he didn't really know what normal was. With a flip, Leo the Lop flopped to the ground, the possum's question ringing in his ears. If my ears drooping down are normal, he thought, then the other rabbit's ears going up must not be normal at all. He thought about it, and he thought about it, and the more he thought about it, the funnier the thought became. He was normal, they were not. With his heart full of laughter, he hopped off to the others to tell them what he had discovered. Giggling, Leo told the other rabbits what he had been told by the possum from the possum tree. If the truth be known, the other bunnies didn't know whether to believe him or not. As Leo laughed and laughed, they thought about it, and the more they thought about it, the more it made sense. Their ears went up, not down. They were not normal. "What are we to do?" they whined. "I have an idea," said Buttermilk brightly. "We'll teach our ears to go down, not up." She found 2 large stones, and with a bit of wild twine vine she tied the stones to the tops of her ears. With the weight of the stones, her ears began to droop lower and lower until they were touching the ground. Excited at Buttermilk's success in making herself appear normal, the others rushed about, picking up stones and gathering lengths of vine. Everything would have been perfectly perfect in the thicket except for one itty-bitty problem. The rocks and ears became tangled in feet and tails. Bunnies tripped and plopped into one big furry pile. "Very funny, Bunny," they grumbled as one. "This is not going to work." "Well," said Buttermilk as she untied the twine vine from the stones, "maybe we need to show our ears the way to go, and then they will know what to do. Then we will be just as normal as Leo." Together the 5 little rabbits climbed up into the old possum tree. With the twine vine, they tied their ears to the branch and then rolled over and hung there upside down. Sure enough, their ears hung straight down, or rather straight up toward the branch. All the rabbits looked just as normal could be. Or did they? As the story goes, they hung there for an hour more, swinging gently in the breeze as their ears learned to hang down instead of up. They would have hung there even longer, but they were startled as a voice called out, "What you doin'?" Scared nearly out of their wits, they quickly flopped to the ground and would have run away had they not seen the possum. "Well," said Buttermilk, "we were hanging from the branch so that our ears would be normal like Leo's." Drawled the possum. "What's normal?" He slowly scratched his head and said, "Earlier, when I saw you all on the ground, your ears looked very normal. But when you were hanging in the tree, they didn't look normal at all. Truly, they looked as abnormal to me." The rabbits stood about thinking. It was Buttermilk who brightly said, "If we're normal, and Leo is normal, then normal is whatever you are." Excited, they rushed off to find Leo and tell him the news. Buttermilk told Leo what the possum had taught them. It made so much sense that Leo easily agreed. "Normal is whatever I am, and normal is whoever you are," he laughed. From that day forward, all of the rabbits lived wonderfully normal lives on the island of Serendipity. If you worry how you look and things about you wish to swap, remember a very normal rabbit, normally called Leo the Lop. All was fine on the island of Serendipity, although Leo had one tiny little problem. His ears still drooped in his soup. What an amazing story! It's so important to remember that it doesn't matter what you look like. In fact, no one looks the same. You are normal just the way you are. Bye!